The views and opinions expressed on the cap are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of OldMilk Media. Any opinions stated aren't intended to offend anyone. All right, episode 406. Basketball is over. In the words of Nikola Jokic, the job is done. You can go home now. Taylor, how are you doing today?
I can't complain. No complaints. I'll leave it at that. It's that easy.
That's great to hear. Honestly, I've been ever since I've seen Across the Spider-Verse, I've just been full in Spider-Man 24/7. I just bought Spider-Man Miles Morales for PlayStation 5, and I've been playing that basically the whole weekend. And I just also pre-ordered Spider-Man 2, the new game that's coming out in October. So I'm going to be playing that whenever I get that. And then, of course, obviously on March 29th, 2024, yes, I have the date memorized because that's how much I like Spider-Man. We're going to get our answers to that cliffhanger on Across the Spider-Verse. So I am very, very excited. Spider-Man up all the way to the top here. Miles Morales, man, great character. Yeah, I'm just excited for the more Spider-Man content to come. Hopefully they make like a new cartoon show. I'll watch that shit too. But beggars can't be choosers. Let's just appreciate what we have right now. Thoughts, Taylor?
I haven't seen the new movie yet. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fan. Maybe not to the level that you are, and I don't play video games, so I don't have the like auxiliary activities that involve with the Spider-Verse, but I need to see the new movie. I was supposed to see it a while ago and it didn't happen, so I gotta get to the theater. I haven't been to the theater in a long time, but I gotta get there to see that before it's out of theaters because I do want to see it in that environment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, honestly, the last time I went to the theater before seeing Across the Spider-Verse, or is it Beyond Across the Spider-Verse? The next one is Beyond the Spider-Verse. But before seeing Across the Spider-Verse, I can't remember the last time I've been to the theater, like at all. There have been things that I wanted to see, like Cocaine Bear, that like it's a bear on cocaine who doesn't want to fucking watch that shit,
Yeah.
Or there's some new shit coming out. It's called Strays. It's about like these stray dogs.
I
If you see the full
saw that.
trailer, like it's crazy as fuck, but
Yeah.
it looks funny as fuck. So that's also something I want to see. But really, besides that, there hasn't really been anything that's really piqued my interest in terms of wanting to actually go sit down in the
Last time I was in the
AMC.
movie theater was Fast and Furious 9.
Oh my god.
So not the one that just came out, but the one before that, where they sent, I think it was Tyrese and Ludacris into space. So
I don't even know what they're doing with that franchise. Like,
you just have to turn your brain off for it. Like so many people are like, "Oh, this is so dumb," and it is. But that's like, you know what I mean. You have to flip the switch in your brain for dumb brain to be on and be like, "Wow, this, they're in space." You know what I mean?
Basically, it's the car version of those Sharknado movies. You just gotta
Yeah,
turn it off for you to enjoy.
you have to turn your brain off all the way and be like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Well, hopefully I don't turn my brain all the way off because then that means I'd stop breathing, and we don't want that. But
No.
anyway, segue. Welcome to the Cat Podcast. This is episode 406. I am Nate Spurley. Once again, that is Taylor McLeod. It's your weekly tour through hip hop. Thank you for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and more. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OldMilk Media, and check out all the Old Milk content on oldmilk.co. Taylor already said he has nothing to complain about when I asked him how he was doing, and I am doing great. Just really excited to get back to Spider-Man. So let's get this shit over quick. That being said, we are into the power rankings for the past 2 weeks. Taylor, you can go first.
Perfect. So I'll go 3, 2, 1. It's two of them that I've had a lot. So I have Great Escape, Larry June and Alchemist at 3, Ways of Knowing, Navy Blue at 2. And then in honor of the 10th anniversary, I have Watching Movies by the Sound Off by Mac Miller as my number 1 album of the week. I've been listening to that all week, just kind of reminiscing. Like that was, I think, the first summer I turned 15 that summer, 2013. So that was like one of the first summers that you're really like, doing your own thing in a way. And it's like, I just remember that album came out the same day as Jesus and Born Sinner. And that was a crazy day. And that album's always really, really stuck with me. I have the vinyl right beyond the computer, actually behind my laptop. So have that out. Probably put that on the turntable later. But yeah, that's my number one this week.
All right. For me, in a surprise, SZA is not number one this week. She is number three. SZA SOS at number three. Lil Durk Almost Healed at number two. Probably a contender for my album of the year at this point. But again, Lil Uzi said it's that he's dropping, and there's like these rumors about Young Thug getting ready to drop next week. So we'll see if that continues. And number one, because this is how much I love Spider-Man and also how much I love Metro Boomin's music. I have Metro Boomin presents Across the Spider-Verse. Very, very good soundtrack. I think it's on the same level as the Black Panther soundtrack that came out about, what was that, like 2017, around there.
Yeah,
Just with the amount of big names on it and also how well it comes together. It's very rare nowadays that we get a soundtrack that makes sense and without being attached to a movie can still be a good body of work. And again, Metro Boomin comes through it with it again, with him presenting Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Oh my God, it's a very long name. But that being said, we are now on to our next segment before we get into the album breakdown, which is verses. And for this question, we are going to be discussing which combo we're going to miss the most between Gunna and Young Thug or Gunna and Lil Baby. Taylor, which one are you going to miss the most?
I think for me it's Gunna and Lil Baby, and you can take all of the context out of this, right? You can take all of what's happened in the last year out of all of this, all the YSL, everything that's happened with YSL out of it. I'll miss Gunna and Lil Baby the most because I just don't think we're ever going to get it again, because I think they've both purposefully distanced themselves from each other as artists because they came up and they were so closely linked, and it almost, we were talking about it before, it almost felt like they were a duo even though they weren't. And I think there's just no chance of that happening again just because they've made so much of an effort to really separate their careers and stand on their own. So I'll definitely miss Gunna and Lil Baby more than Gunna and Young Thug, because I don't necessarily think Gunna and Young Thug is over. I don't think we've seen all the music we're gonna see there.
Yeah, that's interesting because and we're gonna get to this through the album breakdown, but Gunna mentions a lot of times where it kind of seems like him, at least from his vantage point, himself and Young Thug are still cool. So we might be able to still get that. However, that being said, in the case that we don't get it, I think that Gunna and Young Thug is probably the answer. Just for the simple fact of how basically Gunna is another spawn of Young Thug, and the way that they complement each other so well, sometimes you can't really tell the difference between which artist is which, but that works for them. Especially a lot on Punk. I really enjoyed the way that they were able to combine their sounds, and also the YSL tapes and all that other stuff. Like, they've just done so much work together, understanding how influential Young Thug has been in Gunna's career. To not really be able to see that mentor mentee relationship on wax, that will probably be a great loss. But on the other side of this commercial break, we will be discussing Gunna's latest album, A Gift and a Curse. Don't touch that touchpad, I guess, or mouse. Don't whatever you're using, don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Yo, this Young Lil album is the best of all time. I can't wait to talk to Taylor about it, man. This is gonna be the greatest thing ever.
Yo,
Yo, what's good, Taylor? How you doing?
I hate this album.
Do you have to clean your ears first?
My
What's wrong with you?
girlfriend said everything I play in the car scares her. She said I lost all my taste,
Clearly.
and I need your help.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it? You want me to order you Q-tips?
No, I need hoodies. I need a beanie. I need t-shirts. I need you to help.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I can send you this beanie, but everything else we're gonna have to see. Introducing the 2023 Old Milk Collection. This collection, comprised of hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, and stickers designed by Nate Sperlin, is guaranteed to show everyone your superior style and taste. Man, I hope Taylor doesn't scare the viewers with that bummy outfit. Oh, no bummy outfit today. Look at that.
No, I'm much better. The album sounded better. Everything is better. All thanks to Old Milk.
Rush over to oldmilk.co to shop the 2023 Old Milk Collection today. All right, welcome back to the Cat Podcast. Once again, this is episode 406, and on this episode, we are talking about A Gift and a Curse by Gunna. It's 15 tracks, 45 minutes long, with no features. Taylor, what is your first impression on A Gift and a Curse?
I really like it. I was really impressed by it. I think almost what stands out to me first was I think the production on this is pretty simplistic, but really, really nice and very cohesive, and it lays a great foundation for Gunna to talk about a bunch of really serious stuff. And I'm definitely impartial to albums that don't have a ton of features, or in this case don't have any features at all, because it makes there's no confusion that like this is a Gunna album. And that's what I like from other artists when it's mostly them, because then it really feels like their album. And it's because I don't like albums all the time when it's like a feature on every album, because then it feels like a either a compilation or a collaboration album. And even when you have, solo albums but all the biggest songs are filled with features, it kind of feels like the solo songs are like filler, right? That they're not supposed to be there, that they're kind of just like helping you along to the next big moment. So my first impression of this gun is I really enjoyed it. I've listened to it a bunch since it came out, and obviously we'll get into all the context with it because that's hugely important for an album like this, especially when it came out. But first impressions, I think the production's great, and I think these are some of Gunna's like most focused and probably best raps, in my opinions, that we've heard from him.
All right. Um, Going into this album before we even saw a track list or anything like that, when we just had the rumblings that it was going to come out, I had three initial questions. The first one was, will Gunna sound like Gunna? The answer to that one is yes. We have those answers. Will Gunna have any features? The answer is no for that. But again, will Gunna be able to carry an album without any features? Um, and the answer for this album is yes. However, is it sustainable? I'm not completely sure. Um, I feel like Gunna does a really good job. I think the reason why I like this album is because more so Gunna's being real and really directly addressing what's going on with him in his life, and I appreciate that vulnerability. Also it's a really good um break from the usual content that Gunna raps about. I still feel like in terms of delivery, he's a bit one dimensional for him to be able to sustain maybe a J. Cole run of I have like 3 platinum albums with no features and stuff like that. He might be too one dimensional for that, but just for an album with him fresh out of the pen, and really within 2 to 3 months, has it been 2 to 3 months that he's been able to put this all together and release it? Having that, there's a little bit of we don't really get that superstardom that we're really expecting from a Gunna album here, but I don't think that's the purpose of this album. The purpose of this album is really to address all the criticism, all the people who he feels like he turned their backs on Gunna, and all that other stuff. So it seems like this one, to borrow the Migos phrase, is to get some straightening done, and then we'll see what happens with the next one. But because of what this album seems to be, the goal of this album seems to be, I think it accomplishes that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And you can nowadays you can really tell the difference when an album is put together with verses sent via email and stuff that's put together in an auxiliary way where people aren't together, and it doesn't really have a purpose outside of just making an album, and that is the purpose. And I think I really like how you framed it, where it's like maybe in another world this album doesn't hold up on first listen, second listen, third listen. Maybe it falls on deaf ears, but because of what's been happening, this album has a real purpose, right? And this all these songs and everything that Gunna's talking about, they have a real purpose here, and it's our favorite thing. It's intentionality. This album is intentional. Every song, every placement on this album is intentional, and I really enjoy how we didn't even get like, one like big song on this album. I'm glad that there isn't one moment that's like, all right, here's this bone for all the fans who need the song to, to play loud, to do whatever, to turn up to. And this album doesn't have that song. There's some songs that aren't so focused on what's been happening. Like Born Rich kind of stands out to me maybe as a song that isn't necessarily about all the controversy that Gunna's dealt with, but this this album feels definitely like Gunna got out, went to LA, set the studio up in his house, got these beats, and made this album.
Mm-hmm.
And I like projects like that. I like it when you can feel that this was made in a short amount of time, but it was on purpose, and it was it's really from the heart. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the best way possible. It's just real. And this is what this like genre of music is supposed to be. Like when something happens in these artists' lives, they address it through the music. And we've gotten so used to everything that happens in all of these artists, whether it's their personal lives, their careers. We see it play out on social media, and then the social media conversation dictates everything. And for Gunna to address everything in the music the way he did, it's so important to have that reminder that that's what this type of music is for, to really address this. That's why this music is different than every other type of music, because this is where people are really just putting it out there, like addressing things directly, and it's not super, beating around the bush or trying to make it so big and trying to make it this huge like art piece where you have to, deal with it and go layer by layer. Like Gunna's really just getting to the point on this album, and I love that. And it's even better knowing that he's so capable of doing the big art album like DS4 was, and to see like, so where you say he's one dimensional, and I agree kind of with his delivery and his flow and his voice, his and this is where his artistry really shines to me, where he just understands so well what project needs to be, what the project needs to be, and executing that perfectly. And for what's been going on right now, I think that this is a perfect record for him to address everything in the way he did.
Yeah, I like your point about there not being a real hit here. It seems like Gunna didn't really attempt it, and I think part of the reason is that viral video of them playing Gunna in the club and like everyone just like not fucking with it for whatever reason. I feel like it's smart on his end to anticipate that and just be like, I'm not even gonna give y'all the chance to be like, he's trying to go platinum or he's trying to go number one, and we're not gonna fuck with it regardless. This album is really intentional from the standpoint of understanding that the people who are going to listen to it are the people who are really trying to figure out what's going on. And regardless, there are going to be people now who are just not going to fuck with Gunna. That's just what it's going to be. And instead of trying to win those people back, um, quick, or instead of trying to have a quick turnaround in terms of losing those fans and getting them back, he's just trying to address, I guess, what he would call his core fans now. And then if the other fans, fair weather fans, come back or not, I guess that remains to be seen. That if he attempts to get them back, that also remains to be seen on future albums. But I do like that intentionality as well. I also think going through the album, it's really apparent that Gunna feels like people turned their back on him, and he feels hurt by that. Additionally, with the name being a gift and a curse, like it's a gift because he's realizing that he doesn't have, he's realizing people who he thought were his friends aren't his friends. So I guess that's the gift, and the curse is also that he doesn't have as many friends as he used to. So that would be the curse. He mentions a lot of people not being real friends throughout the album. But then again, he also does talk a lot about Young Thug. On Cash It, he says free my bro Jeffro. On Rodeo Drive, he says fuck this shit. I'm doing it for Jeff and Lil Keed. Yeah. And then we can get into I think Bread and Butter deserves its own little segment. So I'll give you a chance to respond, Taylor.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out those little moments of him acknowledging Young Thug in a bunch of different ways. And especially this is where I have to remind myself sometimes that like Twitter isn't real. Like in the Twitter conversation around him has been so one-sided in a way. And you have like one person will say something on Twitter, and then some artist will make some move and everyone perceives it some way. So now this like dominant narrative is that, everyone pretty much that everyone hates Gunna. And I mean it's reflected in the music that that's how he feels too, right? And so that's, I don't know, this album really like hit me in a way where it gets back to like kind of the roots of what all music is supposed to be, where you're like addressing things for real, and like that's the most like vulnerable way to do it. And that's the most because like music is so different than even like writing or painting or any other art, because it brings something out of artists. And so you could hear the pain in a lot of these songs, but you can also hear like kind of the, like you mentioned with the title, where yeah, the curse is there, but it's also a gift. And there's like a sense of resilience and a sense of like Gunn is on his own journey now. You know what I mean? Like, and he was always, not to say that he was like the number two to Thug always, but in a way he kind of was. And he always felt like he always felt almost like the little brother in a way to a lot of artists that he would get on songs with, like whether that's, and it's also just, you know, a product of him being around prolific artists like Young Thug and Future, right? Like of course he's gonna feel that way. But even like where Lil Baby really broke off of all things, like Gunna, not broke off, but you know what I mean. He established himself as a solo artist, and he became someone who they argue about as one of the best rappers, if not the best rapper in the game right now. And this album kind of feels like the beginning of something like that for Gunna, where he's like, all right, like I guess it's on me now. Like I have to just, you know, take all this into my hands and move forward.
Yeah. Getting to bread and butter. Some of the lines where he's dissing, he mainly disses Lil Durk and Lil Baby. He also again disses the people he thought were friends but aren't really friends when he says, "Fuck them boys, I found out who my real partners, and who was only with me because I had dollars." The Lil Durk diss is, "These rap boys need more streams. Heard he put my name on wax." And the Lil Baby diss is, the multiple here are, "You switched on me when you know you in business with a rat." Another one is, "You still fuck with that partner that done got your partner. I assume it's whacked." But it's censored. It kind of beeps out there, but I assume it's whacked. And lastly, just addressing everything that's going on. He says, "Lawyers and the DA did some sneaky shit. I fell for it." Yeah. Your reaction, Taylor?
The Lil Durk lines, or at least what seem like the lines that Lil Durk, don't move me necessarily. It's not something that because it's just kind of like not random necessarily, because it's two of the bigger artists in rap right now, but anything anything where it turns like from, I don't know, I just always come back to the Gunna and Lil Baby thing. It like makes me sad in a way how all of this has played out, because I mean it really felt like they were like the two young guys on like a new team, right? And like they were like going to be the future, and then it's like, all right, they went their separate ways, but it doesn't seem like there's animosity. And then over the years it's just been more and more like, all right, there is not that connection we thought was a thing for a long time, isn't there so much. So though, I mean, it just I don't know, I guess because I don't have any like emotional investment in the YSL, like it's like there's people on Twitter who are, you know, talking about it like they know these people, and obviously some people do know Thug and they know Gunna for real in the real life, and I understand that. But there's people like, you know, fans who are acting like, you know, their whole life is gonna fall apart if Young Thug goes away forever, if YSL falls apart. So I don't have that. I'm more disappointed that like this connection that we thought was so real between these two artists, and it could have been at the time, this, I don't know, it feels less and less real by the day, and it makes like how I feel about their early music and their early tapes together, it makes me like be like, damn, I thought it was one way and I guess it's not. And so it's just disappointing. I guess that's the word I keep coming back to. It's disappointing how all this has played out, especially because if Gunna is, you know, everything that he's putting across is honest and the truth, and I'm sure that Young Thug will be able to confirm this. I know we saw the QR codes that everyone's posting, but if, I mean, if the whole thing comes out that Gunna, like Thug is completely fine with Gunna and it is what it is, and this is just how it happened. And for like, you know, Gunna Lil Baby, I don't know if it'll be a beef because Baby's been really quiet lately, but it's just disappointing. And especially if it comes out that Gunna really is like, the pain we hear from him is validated, and it's like he's like, I just, you know what I mean? Like I got like fucked over in a way, and it just happened how it happened. I guess that would just be, you know, it's just like the end of a run and it's just falling apart in like the worst way.
Yeah. Um, I feel like, I mean, I think that Gunna has a chance to really expand himself and expand his artistry, understanding that he might not have those same relationships with different artists that he once did. I think that might force him to kind of develop in a way where he might not have been forced to with if all this stuff didn't happen. I also think that this may signal the start of the end for the Atlanta run, because the reason why Atlanta has been on top so long is because of the fact that they've been able to work together so long without really any drama. The really before this, the one major piece of drama I can really remember between Atlanta's biggest artists is the Young Thug Future shit that happened like way back ago, and then obviously it's solved and they're best friends and et cetera, et cetera. So we're kind of seeing cracks in the armor in terms of, or cracks in the facade, I should say, when we're seeing Gunna and Lil Baby, especially Gunna and Lil Baby, two artists that have a tape together, beefing so publicly. Lil Durk and Gunna, I mean, Lil Durk's from Chicago. I don't really think that matters, although a lot of people do fuck with Durk now, and we're seeing that with like the Durk versus Young Boy stuff. And also another thing too, like all these people talking about YSL going downhill is going to be the end of like their music listening lives or whatever. Like, is the same energy of like people were scared to play Lil Durk and Young Boy back to back. It's just like I understand those are your favorite artists, and obviously we all feel a type of way of our favorite artists, but at the same time, they don't know you exist. So like at the end of the
Yeah,
day, if they don't know you exist, who the fuck really
that
cares?
was
You know?
100%. That'd be like me if I never listened to Pusha T again, right? After
Mm-hmm.
2018, if I was like, nope, can't listen to Push, like it wouldn't make any. It just and this is where the constantness of social media makes it so it's like you have to like hold up this like image of yourself for these artists like that and it's the perfect way to describe it that they do not know you exist. Like if you play Dirk and Youngboy back to back, like Dirk's not gonna kick down your door and be like throw your phone out the window and be like, you know what I
It's
mean?
like
Like
that South Park episode where they're trying to I think it was about P. Diddy trying to get everyone to vote. And they were like, I'm not voting. And then P. Diddy just walks through the door and ties people up and starts like beating their asses and South Park. Like
yeah,
it's like that's not gonna happen. That's
it
just like
just
South
doesn't
Park for a reason.
it just doesn't make sense. And I mean, I think that you and I have addressed it in a way that how both of us feel, where it's like as fans of this genre and of fans of the everything that goes with it, I'm more of a like let's see what happens. Let's see what's actually real and let these people actually address it. Because I mean, whatever this QR code, and I haven't scanned the QR code. I don't know if you have, but I kind of
I
don't want
haven't.
to. But I mean, if we get like a Lucy from Thug or like if it's like a voicemail or something like that, and it's like and he is supporting, or if it's like a single or a tape or anything that has Gunna on it, like are all these people going to be like, okay, it's cool to listen to Gunna again?
Yeah, I
Like
mean that's another thing too. Like that's so stupid. Like
it
you
just
don't
doesn't make sense.
Young Thug hasn't said anything about Gunna yet, and everyone's already making up their minds. Like I understand if like Thug says like, "Yo, I don't fuck with Gunna anymore," and everyone starts making their minds up. Like, okay, I
Sure.
guess cool, but at the same time, we don't even know how Young Thug feels about this yet. So I don't know. Like, it's just all based off of assumptions, and there's nothing really there. But and actually, let's actually talk about something tangible here, Taylor. Let's talk about our
Yeah.
favorite tracks. What are your favorite tracks?
Let me pull up the track list just so I can make sure I have the right ones. So Back to the Moon, track number 2, and these aren't in any order because I don't think this album lends itself to ranking the tracks in order, but like that. But
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Moon, I love Back to the Moon. I love Payback. I love that Payback spelled like Maybach
Mm-hmm.
too, like with the H instead of the K. I love Rodeo Drive and then Born Rich. So those are my 4. Back to the Moon, Payback, Rodeo Drive, and Born Rich.
My top three from least best to best is Back to the Moon, and then I have Rodeo Drive, and then I have Bread and Butter. I think Bread and Butter is the most important song on the album. Additionally, one thing I did mess up because I do like transitions from song to song. Fuck You Mean to Rodeo Drive, great transition. All right, let's rate the album based
Here,
on personal playback value and
can we
objective playback value.
can I have one more thing? I forgot
Yes,
that I wanted.
go ahead.
All right, so I don't know if this was a direct reference to David Ortiz,
Mhm.
but Gunna on Born Rich says he's like my DR mommy call me Big Poppy, and honestly I miss baseball references in rap music. There was a time when like people would really like do it, like eat like Drake has the one like I'm in the Dominican Big Poppy Ortiz, or even like plain ones like Lil Wayne saying I'm a scoop your girl up like a ground ball. We just don't hear it anymore, and like those ones used to make me like laugh so much, and it just doesn't happen anymore. But here we can get on to the shelf life of this album, but I wanted to bring that up because
I thought the Lil Wayne one was also going to be a David Ortiz one because then I was going to say your Boston bias is showing about Taylor.
well, I mean, he in the 2000s he was the coolest baseball
He
player, so I
he was.
understand why he got all the
Oh yeah, for
in his
sure.
name. His nickname obviously lends itself to a bunch of different,
I'm
you
just
know.
saying, Derek Jeter definitely got some references too. Is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying. Absolutely, we need to get back to that point, but I don't know, like who, like
We got the greatest baseball player of all time, Shohei Ohtani, right now,
yeah,
and I ain't hear no bars. We need some Shohei
we
Ohtani
need the
bars
first Shohei Ohtani
for sure,
bars.
for sure. All right, shelf life of this album, Taylor, personal and objective.
Personal, I personal, I'd say that I'll give this. I can see myself listening to this through the summer, definitely. So I'll say 2 to 3 months for my
Mhm.
personal, because I really really like this album. I like it more than probably any album we've talked about so far on this season of the pod. So I'll give myself 2 to 3 months. Objectively, and for the mainstream in the greater picture, I think this is very short. I think this has until whatever that QR code that that Thug put out, whatever that QR code is, will determine what the shelf life of this Gunna record is. Because if it's a Thug tape that has like anything negative about Gunna, that the Gunna album will be gone. If it has anything that's positive about Gunna, I could see more people giving this a chance and giving this Gunna tape, 2 to 3 weeks after that. But I also think because it doesn't have that one song, it doesn't even have that one song. Some of its projects have, 4, 5, 6 of those songs. This
Mhm.
doesn't have even one of them. So I think that in the bigger picture, Billboard wise, chart wise, this might, go by the wayside pretty quickly, a week or two. But I think a lot of it rides on whatever Young Thug's gonna do next week will determine how this kind of all plays out.
Objectively, I completely agree with you. If Young Thug is out here saying fuck Gunna in a week, then a lot of people will probably turn this off.
Yeah.
But if Young Thug is saying, "Yo, Gunna, you did what you had to do. I support you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining, King," or something along that level, I can see it going for like a month or maybe more. For me, in terms of my personal playback value, I gotta be honest. I like this album. It's not DS Forever for me though. In terms of being in the album of the year conversation, so I'll probably say a good month. Although I'm kind of doubting it because that Spider-Verse album just has a hold on me for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's there's tough competition is all I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, whenever Metro Boomin the Future comes out, nothing else will be played.
Oh yeah, for
That's
sure.
the
I mean,
only thing I'm listening to for the
if
rest of the
Uzi
year. When
if Uzi drops in 2 weeks, it's over. Like that's
oh, like you know, props to Lil Uzi, but the second that Future and Metro Boomin comes out, all the other albums, I might even delete all the other music off my phone, honestly.
Yo, he wants DS3 so bad. All right, this has been the Cat Podcast, episode 406. That is Taylor McLeod. I am Nate Sperlin. Let us know your opinion of A Gift and a Curse in the comments below. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Old Milk Media. And check out all the Old Milk merch on oldmilk.co. That being said, we will be back when hip hop tells us to be. And we are out. Old Milk.